Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, have I got a treat for you, because it is our great, grandiose return to Sabaton, named after a piece of footwear that soldiers use. I'm not kidding as well. That's what a Sabaton is. It's a type of shoe that's like soldier. I think it was like maybe the days of the Romans when they used stuff like that. But I could be wrong. Now, what I'm not wrong, however, is the legend behind this song. Now, I don't necessarily want to spoil anything, but I'll let you guys know, because one thing that Sabaton is renowned the world over for doing is writing songs about the heroes and villains of war. Their entire plethora, their discography, is centered around the fact there are some people in history you genuinely cannot believe existed. And in the case of Simo Hayaha, you are going to, if you have never heard of Simo Hayaha before this video, well, you guys are going to be in for a treat. So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. But just as a point of reference, if Simo Hayaha was still alive today, I don't think Putin would have stood a chance in Ukraine. That's my personal opinion, but let's begin. White Death in 3, 2, 1, and... Now, you may want to also pay this attention, ladies and gentlemen, to his rifle. Now, for anybody who's ever had experience of using sniper rifles before, or anybody who's had who understands some basic level of artillery during times of war, and if you could spot anything wrong with this, then you probably will already know. But for those who don't, bear this image in mind. It is going to provide a huge insight for what's to come next.
Almost night, a crimson horizon, painting thousand legs red. As your army approaches from the east, a hunter is switching his prey. All alone, a man with his gun wanders into the wild. Tracks you down, you cannot hide. One thing is onto your trail. Into the night, a flash in the darkness. White Death is heading your way. The fear of his foes, a hero at home. Hundreds will fall by his gun. You're in the sniper's sight. The first hit tonight, time to die. You're in the bullet's way. The White Death's play. Say goodbye. After the dawn, when morning is broken, snow runs white to red. 100 snow tells what happened last night. A tale of a sniper is born. Snowy mouth, hiding his breath. He is steady at hand. Eye to eye, target in sight. The moment to fire has come. Hundreds of kills, a man and his rifle embody the season of things. Stay on sight and cover your head. When he pulls the trigger, you're dead. You're in the sniper's sight. The first kill tonight, time to die. You're in the bullet's way. The White Death's play. Say goodbye. first sight, the first kill tonight. Time to die. You're in the bullet's way, the white death's way. Say goodbye. You're in the sniper's sight. Sniper sight. You're his first kill tonight. First kill tonight. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Before is gone. You're in the sniper's sight. Sniper sight. You're his first kill tonight. First kill tonight.
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just about that. Now, in case you don't know who Sir Simo Hayahara is, and you didn't recognize what was so significant about the shape of his rifle, well, usually rifles have what's referred to as scopes on them. This is essentially that long little piece of metal you put on top of a rifle, and you're able to, like, you know, actually see your target for miles and miles ahead. It's the sort of thing that's been around since, like, the mid 19th century. I think it's mid 19th century. I think it's about that anyway. So, in case you're wondering exactly why that's necessary, because throughout his time during the Finnish Winter War, when the Soviets were invading Finland, Simo managed to kill 505 Soviet soldiers without a scope. Basically meaning that he was almost like, it's the equivalent of like pointing a rifle in the distance and trying to squint your eye in such a way that it's a bit like basically shooting in the absolute darkness for miles. And Simo managed to kill over 500 Soviet soldiers. And that's why he's often been dubbed as perhaps the greatest sniper marksman in history. And that is also why he has been nicknamed White Death, and why there was probably references to the bloodshed that Simo had achieved, and the use of like red as well, from turning white snow to red. I like to imagine this is also in reference to the fact that, again, you can tell these are meant to be like Soviet soldiers as well. And could you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's easy enough in nowadays and age to say, you know, maybe with a bit of training and maybe some real like laser focused precision, you could probably maybe do the same as well as what Simo did. However, and this is something I really have to I have to make you guys clear, is that Simo was fighting in a war. He was a soldier. And so this isn't just like, you know, Simo, for example, would not have been trained in regiment and specifically told not to use a scope. I highly doubt they would have done anything quite like that. So what you've got is a man who literally was like shooting a rifle with no scope and managing to kill over 500 people is a bit like trying to find your way through a maze with a broken compass. I wonder genuinely how far away Simo actually was from the Soviets, because if I had to make anywhere near an educated guess, I'm almost wanting to say something like 10, maybe somewhere between 8 to 10 miles or something like that. And maybe that's where it's come from. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's just go through here, because Sabaton, as you probably have guessed already, they are very, very adept and very, very good historians. So In fact, their entire website is basically down to, documenting a lot of their history as well as, the history of a lot of things they write about. Simo Häyhä was born on December 17th, 1905 in a small Finnish municipality of J.F.A near the Russian border. His peers described him as a friendly, mild-mannered, introverted man who kept himself to himself and to his daily work as a farmhand. Now, by the age of 20, he had undergone his mandatory military service and been promoted to corporal. He took part in several skiing and shooting competitions. He was a real biathlete, and he was especially renowned for his rifle skills. Like most Finnish men, he had joined the national militia after his compulsory service. This was the Sotilakunta, a service for young men that dated back to Finland's Declaration of Independence in 1917, and the Civil War the following year. The service trained men like Häyhä to be prepared for when Finland must needed them. And again, I kind of almost want to say exactly how far they would say. Well, maybe it's probably as far here. Häyhä is believed to have not missed his target very often. In his short time at the front, his kill tally would rise to unprecedented levels. Hundreds fell to his rifle. So many, in fact, that his superiors did not believe the stories at first. Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of thing. Exactly what I'm telling you about. You would not believe men like Häyhä really existed if we didn't tell you. According to records, just before Christmas, he killed 25 soldiers in just one day. While many Finnish and Soviet snipers used modern sniping rifles outfitted with telescopic lenses, Häyhä relied on the old-fashioned iron sights. Not only did he feel this gave him a better picture of the target, but more importantly, it would allow him to keep his head down lower, and in turn lower his whole profile, making him harder to spot. Lenses could reflect the light and reveal his position, as was the case with many Soviet marksmen who were sent out to counter-sniper him, and instead met their fate with the help of his outdated rifle. And again, Finnish snipers like Häyhä were accurate enough that they simply shot them in the kneecaps. And that's quite fascinating as well. All he had to do literally was just do that, and that's all you had to do. Damn. What an absolute hero. And I like to imagine that it's the sort of thing that, again, Finland is home to many, many great and wonderful things. Chief among which is that in order to pass a driving test, you have to perform a power slide. And as someone who's never actually done a power slide before, that almost gets me very, very excited to try. Which begs the question: would I have to probably take a driving test in Finland to just to drive on the roads there? It's a good question as well. If that's part of the test. So. But then again, it's not often you get men like Häyhä every so often. So, what there will be legends that come out of like any national conflict, and Häyhä was just another one. But what another one he was. He knew what was up. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to White Death by Sabaton. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below and what you guys thought of White Death for yourselves. And make sure to, if you see him, you're probably already dead anyway. But he was grateful enough just to let you see the silver in his eyes, and you're dead. And I hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.